Welcome to episode 9. Now, I'm alone in the room by myself this week because Darren is on holiday in Egypt as a foreign exchange student. I'm not sure. Can you hear me, Darren?
I can hear you beautifully. Can you hear me?
Oh, what a stupid voice. We're not doing the usual courses this week of starters, main course, etc. We're going to do an all-you-can-eat buffet because this is Darren's first all-inclusive holiday. So how's it going?
Very well, sir. I mean, here I am sat in the sun with a gin and tonic in my hand, and there you are. I'd imagine in the rain, being as it's home. But yeah, it's good. It's eye-opening.
It's actually really sunny and nice.
Is it? You've looked after those cats, all right?
The cats are still alive. I'm keeping them alive. Don't you worry about that.
Well, I've got some.
Have I lost you already?
Sorry?
Oh, I thought I lost you then. There was just a big gap.
Well, we'll get used to that.
Oh, this is going to get really frustrating.
I am in Africa, to be fair. It's a different world over here.
Well, maybe we can use foreign aid money to build more towers.
We're having a lovely time. We wanted to go to the aquarium because it's apparently one of the biggest aquariums in the world, just down the road from us. And it was like, they said, if you book it through us, then basically you just get an Egyptian that comes along with you the whole time. He speaks English. And I was like, yeah, a bit weird, really, having a random guy with me just chatting shit the whole time.
Yeah, perving at your kids, offering you goats.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I think we'll go on. I mean, obviously,
oh my God, is that Allahu Akbar over there?
Yeah, he looks a bit like it. The stress of travelling with kids, I mean, that's a ball ache in itself. I mean, day one here, I was like, that's it, never doing this ever again. Not a chance. Then I went diving for a day.
Were they screaming, were they?
Oh, scram like hell. Although, I have to say, a massive... So I was a lady at the airport.
Oh my God, Darren, is that Allahu Akbar again?
Baby!
He's going to touch you. Don't let him touch you.
It was Ronaldo, don't I? I was at the point where I was like, I had to throw a kid out of a plane or something. And you know what? The right person just happens to come along. And it's just one person who just happens to sympathise, who actually understands what it's like having kids and the rest of it, who just comes over and just talks to the kids nicely for 2 minutes. And made such a huge difference. It was like, you know, that a little act of kindness sometimes just makes a huge difference when you can see, like, me and Alice are both stressed to shit. The kids are both screaming or whatever. And then a nice lady behind us who was probably late 60s, early 70s, had grandkids of her own, similar age, was just like, instantly took an interest in the kids and got excited about things. And like, even though it only stopped them screaming for about 10 minutes, it did make a hell of a difference just to have somebody that was like, oh, you actually understand, rather than everyone else. It's just so, like, as if they were never kids and just moody. I mean, airports are moody places anyway, but yeah, so the travel was a bit rubbish, but we got here. Wasn't as hot as I expected, although I am sunburnt instead. But then, I mean, the size of the place we're staying in is absolutely massive. It's ridiculous, really. There's a different restaurant for every nationality you go in. There's a nightclub, there's bowling, there's games, there's a hospital, there's scuba diving, everything. I can't complain.
How much are you getting hassled?
Hassled? No, not really at all. Because it's all closed resorts. So it's got, there's a big ass sign. I mean, it's about 7 or 8 foot tall by 7 or 8 foot wide on big stilts. And it says, don't talk to the man behind this sign who's got a camel and a donkey. And you're like, oh, look, there's a man with a camel on. Talk to him. He's dodgy. Okay, cool. Don't talk to him. But no, apart from that.
Well, what's he going to do to you? Just rip you off?
I don't know. Like they said, everything's negotiable in Egypt. I suppose I've been to Morocco before, and I don't know whether it's a thing of just Muslim culture or North African culture, but like everything's up for debate, everything's negotiable. So it's like, okay, well, how much is this? How much is that? Which is quite nice being the all-inclusive thing, because actually, like, well, when I phoned you a minute ago, I went to the bar and said gin and tonic, and he was like, 1. I was like, make it 2. But I've been on the gin and tonic since about 10 o'clock in the morning. Because they're free, so why not?
All inclusive. That's what I do like about it.
Yeah, the food though. I mean, I need to speak to some chefs and get a bit of insight into how many chefs they employ here, because they just churn it out on a conveyor belt. There's just food all day. like, I kind of feel like we should fill the place with Americans and see how they get on with it. It's like, it's so intense. You know, back along, I said about the vegan duck on one of the episodes.
Yeah.
Well, there's, I don't think anyone else has discovered it, but in the vegan section, there is plain boiled chicken, which goes down a storm with the kids, because if they want a bit of a beige lunch and they want pasta or bread or pizza or chips with a bit of chicken, go to the vegan section, there's boiled chicken. But because there's about 7,000 other... Yeah, it's just chicken, but it's in the vegan section. But, like, because there's all these other they're all in like chafing dishes and they've got domes on them, so you can't see what most of it is. So people don't see what's what, so nobody else sees this chicken. I mean, yesterday, Isla had some pasta and wanted pasta with butter on it. The butter was quite hard because it's in a bowl of ice water. So I took one of the butter portions, walked over to the boiled chicken, aved it in, put the lid back on, came back 10 minutes later because nobody else ever goes for vegan chicken, took the lid off, and there was a nicely melted pot of butter in there. So it's ideal. They've got a carvery section, which upset some lady last night because they had a whole lamb on it. Just they'd taken the head off, but quite high up the neck, so it had most of the neck on it. Both the shoulders, both the legs intact, and they just had this whole lamb there, just carved up. And is it the first today? I think it's the first today. Today's the start of Ramadan, so yesterday Alice went diving, and the diving instructor, who's British, she was a bit like, wasn't overly impressed when they brought a cow down to... There was a cow that was being slaughtered for Ramadan, but it was being brought down for some reason to the beach where they're about to go diving with the hood over its head. She was like, I'm not really into that. That was a bit weird.
What are they going to do? Hack it to pieces?
I don't really know. I don't know how they go about killing it. They slit its throat and drain it, don't they? I don't know. There's a certain way they have to do it. But to be honest, even I'm a chef, I don't really know the ins and outs of how we actually slaughter a cow normally. But I know that people say that the way that they do it for their haram, or halal rather, way is inhumane. But who knows?
I think because we use a bolt gun, don't we, and knock them out, and then they slit their throats. Whereas those people that you're with are, I sound really bigoted. I don't Egyptians. They just slice the throat anyway without any stunning.
I think that's probably why they didn't like it. But I mean, the food on the whole is but all right. There's just too much of it. I can hear my dad, because when he went on a cruise last year, and it was the first time I'd ever been on a cruise, he was like, it's just like eat, and then you eat, and then what you're doing, you're eating again, and then you're eating again. That's pretty much been like that. It's like, wake up, eat, sit by the pool for a while, play in the pool, go and have some lunch, eat, chill out by the pool for a bit in the afternoon, go for a nap because the kids are knackered, wake up, go for dinner, eat, go to a nightclub. Oh, there's a tune, actually, I'll find it before we get to the end of the podcast, which you'll have to find the link for it, and you have to put it on the podcast so that people can try and learn the dance to it. Because the first day we arrived here, I thought, what the hell is this? Right? There's Baby Shark, fine. Then there was this new one, I'd never heard of it. And there was a British girl here, and she was the queen of it. She obviously knew it. She'd been here for a few days. She'd mastered it. And I thought, well, it can't be that hard. I'll master it myself. And it's only about a minute and a half long, but it is quite, it speeds up, and you've got to do the hand movements for it. And it's quite a challenge. So I'll give you the name of that before the end of it, because that is the highlight of the kids' disco. That's about 8:30 in the evening. That song comes on, and then they get the parents up, and you've got to try and do it. And obviously I'm competitive as hell, so I'm up there like, right, we're going to smash this out. We're going to do it. But yeah, that's fun. And then when you've done that, you have some more to eat. You have some candy floss, and you go to bed.
Have you been offered? Oh, hang on. Let's go to the next section for bartering, shall we?
Yeah, go on.
So, have you been offered any goats, lambs, budgies, or anything else for your wife or your kids?
Not yet. But when we got the taxi, so we got a transfer from the airport, which was us and another family from somewhere in South Wales. He did get offered some cocaine as soon as he got in the taxi. I didn't get offered any of that. But I've not been there. There's not been much bartering. And the thing is, it's a closed currency, which I don't really understand what that means, apart from they only have the currency in this country. But surely that's the same as in our country. But hey, who knows? Anyway, it's closed currency. You can only buy the stuff when you get here. You land, or they don't tell you this before you land. You land and go, oh, it's 20 quid each for a visa in English money. I was like, okay, cash only. Great. Purely by chance, I had 80 quid of cash in my wallet. That was all the money I had. And they're like, yeah, it's 80 quid. Well, of course it is.
Of course it is, yeah.
Paid them. But It just happened to be the exact amount I had. Anyway, paid that. But then other than that, because it's all inclusive, I was like, well, I don't need any cash, do I? But then because I went diving the other day, I drew out some cash. And I spoke to somebody and they said that because it's called pounds as well, it's Egyptian pounds. And one English pound is worth about 65 Egyptian pounds. So I was like, okay, fine.
A 65 to 1 ratio. And what does one Egyptian pound get you? Is it like a 2-piece sweet, or is it a bag of flour, a butter block? What is it?
Well, one of the guys here was saying that his rent per month, obviously he doesn't live in the hotel, but he works in the hotel, his rent for the month is £400 in Egyptian pounds a month. And I was like, okay, fair. I was like, that's less than £6 in English money per month he pays for his rent.
£6 a month?
So it is relatively relative, as in he probably earns about, let's say he earns £10 an hour. That would pay his rent happy days. But that £10, so I gave a guy a tip the other day. So it's all inclusive, fine, whatever. Chatting to this bloke, Thomas his name is, and I was like, no, can I get 2 beers and whatever the kids wanted? Yeah, fine. I said, we're over there. Oh, no problem. You want to wait here? And I was like, can you bring it to me? And they gave him a £10 note. He was like, oh, thank you very much. Took his £10 note. Now, a £10 note is equivalent to 15p in English money. So I was like, give him this 15p tip. Thank you very much. And no problem, my friend. And every day we've been back since, even though it's a huge resort and there's thousands of people there, he recognised me. He's like, my friend. And he knows roughly where we sit, and he knows that I drink gin and tonic or a pint. Well, not a pint, but a beer. He knows what the kids will drink, and he's straight over before you even work. And so that 15p of tip, which comes back to what we were saying the other day about tips and the weird systems of how they work. Giving him 15p tip, all of a sudden I've got my own personal barman.
That's cool. That is really cool. And it makes things a lot, it puts a nice gloss, I think, on your holiday as well, that extra special bit. And that's what a tip should be worth, going a bit over and out for you. And
I was chatting to 2 people from, God knows where, 2 Brits earlier on, and they were saying that the main food in the main restaurant didn't really tickle their taste buds last night. So they've got a booking system for all the other 7 restaurants. You have to book between 9 a.m. and midday. There's a booking station. You go there, you book in the restaurants, drop in. If you don't book in, tough luck, you're in the main restaurant. And they said last night they didn't fancy the whole lamb. It upset her and whatever. So they wanted to go to the Chinese restaurant. So they went to Chinese. And they said, you got a booking though. Oh, sorry, you can't come in. And he gave them a tip. And I think he said he gave them 20 quid. 20 quid. Can I come in? They said, oh, no problem. Gave him a table. And they said,
20 quid in Egyptian money?
Yeah, so about 30p in English money. He's given him a 30p tip. They said, anytime you want to come here, no booking, no problem, just come, speak to me, you're in. So it's like, for 30p, this guy has now got carte blanche and whenever he goes to whichever restaurant, or whenever he goes to the Chinese restaurant. I mean, there's a Chinese, a Japanese, Mongolian, Italian, Greek, and someone else. It's mental. I thought, now that, if that was a concept that would catch on in the UK, it had one chef, could see about 100 covers for one chef. And I thought, this is such an easy way of cooking. And everyone that I've spoken to that said, oh, the Mongolian restaurant's really nice. This is kind of swaying off your party now. I'll tell you what, in other news, to our experience in the Mongolian restaurant, I could see, when you go somewhere and you think, oh, that would be a good thing, where there's a shortage of chefs and the labour market's all problematic and everyone doesn't like this, doesn't like that, doesn't like the portion sizes, likes different taste buds, whatever. This Mongolian restaurant, brilliant. So what it has, it's got a big ass grill and it's round. It's a big round grill and it's solid. It's a flat top plancha kind of grill. It's probably about 9-10 foot across circle, 10 foot diameter. Big ass thing. So it's there. It's got all this space on. Then you've got a salad top fridge, and in the fridge it's got chicken, beef, squid, and random fish. Mainly hake, because hake seems to be the go-to fish. Got that. Then the next section you've got red cabbage, red onion, spring onion, peppers, carrot, whatever vegetables you want, mange tout, etc., etc. So you take as much as you want, you put in as much as you want, you chuck it all into it, so you get a black pot, like a big plastic pot. I had chicken, so chicken went in, red cabbage goes in, everything else goes in, all your veg, all the rest of it. Then there's egg noodles, chuck as many as you want in, happy days. Then the next station has got chili, garlic, soy sauce, teriyaki sauce, hundreds of different things, stock, all sorts of stuff. It's like all the sauce elements of it. And then what you do is you select whatever you want. The waiter just says to you, go over there, get a black thing, fill it up, come back to your table. Cool, lovely, fill it up, go back to your table. And then when you're all sat at your table with your black bowl of stuff, so if you want a big portion, take a lot. If you want a small portion, take less. If you want it spicy, put more chili, whatever. So you chuck it all there. He then comes around to your table, picks up your bowls, gives them all to the chef. Then the chef goes around, he gets them all in table number order or whatever. So I was trying to watch what he did, but he kind of had, position 1, 2, 3, and 4 off the table, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. He had a system, obviously. And then he just put them all on the edge of this circle. Like, imagine a big clock face, like every minute on the clock face, he'd have 60 positions. He wouldn't have, he'd probably have about 20 positions. So he's got like 20 different positions, 20 different loads of food on. He chucks on all the stuff without the sauce. So the sauce stays to the side. He drains that off. He chucks all the dry on with oil and slowly cooks it. Basically doing a stir fry, but he's doing 20 different stir fries at the same time on one huge great skillet pan. Then in the middle of this great ring, he's got the little cast iron skillets, the ones that we use for sizzlers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they all go in the middle. They're all stacked up. So they're getting bouncing out in the middle. Then he's got a load of these wooden boards that they sit on. So they're all laid out on the front. He goes around stirring. Then he pours on all the different sauces. And there's a bit of cross-contamination, which is where I think it probably would work so well in our culture because people would bitch and moan and whatever.
Yeah.
And we've got more allergies than they have. But I did point out as well, it's just like, yours is definitely next to the fish one, and he's definitely just using the same 2 pallet knives for everybody's food. But let's skip past that. So he's got all this stuff. He's mixing it all up. Then he's got his bottle, presumed from looking at it, was just a mixture of veg oil and water. And he just sprayed that all over the whole thing. Before you know it, you've got flames 5 foot high.
So there's the theatrics.
The full spectacle. Oh, people are loving it. People are up video and photograph and all the rest of it. Yeah, it takes about 8 minutes, let's say, each one. And then he gets to it. He just gets one of those big fish slices. You get that are about sort of 8-9 inches long. One of those. Scrapes it onto a skillet, which is bouncing hot, puts it on the wooden board. Bang, bang, bang. They all get put in front of you. And it's like, it's exactly to your taste. If you want lots of soy sauce, lots of chili, lots of garlic, lots of ginger, whatever you want, you've chosen it, so it's there. Whatever vegetables you like, whatever meat you want. Like, Alice doesn't like a lot of carbs, so she's like, well, she kind of avoided the whole egg noodles and had a few, but it was mainly she had loads of veg. She had a bit of chicken and a bit of beef. I just had chicken, but it was really tasty. It was cooked nicely. It's got, the prep must have been easy. All the veg went for a Rebbo coop. And then you just got to chop up some meat and some fish. All the sauces are just sauces. You got one chef there, and they're probably doing 2 sittings a night, so I'd imagine they're doing about 200 covers a night and the rest with one chef. And he looks like a hero. And all he's doing is standing there flipping stuff around with his utensils, pouring some oil and water over it so it sets fire to the whole thing and chocolate. Everyone's like, oh, I really enjoyed mine. It was really nice.
All right, but what about the main question?
Yeah.
The main question. What about flies? Are they in everything?
No, hardly any. Alice bought some bands for us, like mosquito repellent things. Haven't seen a mosquito. I've seen a few flies, but nothing like no worse than you could get in the UK in the summer. There's food. I haven't seen a single fly in food, which is strange because I've been to Morocco, flies everywhere, but here haven't seen any flies.
Nice. So I don't have to set up a dragon's den for revolutionising the country with fly zappers.
No, I'll send you a photo when I walk back that way because there are the occasional tree that's got a sort of, I can best describe it. It looks like a blue paper towel dispenser with some jam stuck inside it, which are basically fly traps. And they've got, flies in them, but not like thousands. But the flies, there are some flies about, but as I sit here now, I'm scanning a big area. I cannot see a single fly anywhere.
Yeah,
there's quite a lot of birds. You probably hear a lot of birds tweeting in the background, to be honest.
I should imagine the birds are eating them.
The birds are eating all the bloody flies. There's loads of big heron-type birds that seem to be quite happy munching away on stuff. But no, there's not many flies. I'm happy with them. And so we're going to the Italian restaurant tonight, so I'll let you know how that is. In the big main restaurant, there's a kids section, which... I was chatting to this lady earlier, she was a bit chavvy, and she's like, oh, I don't really like any of that food. It's like, you can't really say in a restaurant that big with a buffet as wide a selection as that is, I don't like any of that, because it's like they've got pretty much everything. And she was like, I just want this to. She said, your kids must be having a hell of a time if they're 3 and 4. I was like, yeah, they're not too bad with food. I said, yesterday they just had chicken nuggets and mash. She goes, well, where the hell did they get that from? So there's a kids section down the end. There's a TV, there's little kids seats, and there's kids stuff. She goes, oh, mate, I'm well going there later. So I was like, cool, crack on. I don't know why I've given her an accent.
Oh, mate, I'm well going there later. Oh, God, can you imagine?
That is what she said, but with a more northern accent.
A long conversation with that would be horrendous.
But I mean, there's so much stuff. Like, as from where I'm sitting here, there's a station just across from me that just does popcorn and candy floss for the kids and mocktails. There's a cocktail bar to the left. There's another bar to the right, and then there's a main barbecue outside cooking area, which is quite cool. Like they always do something deep fried in the evening, like donuts or banana fritters or whatever. They've got a big charcoal grill there, so they do like barbecue chicken thighs. Last night it was barbecue beef, just kebab kind of things, but there's plenty of choice. And if there's nothing there that you like, then you probably just don't like food because there's so much of it to choose from. But yeah, is what it is, really. But yeah, that's the main dinner part of it. So I think what else is to say about it, really? In other news. So, I blagged my, when I went to Malta a few years ago, I blagged that I could dive, and I was quite clearly out of my depth. And there's some blags in life that are a bit too dodgy. That was one of them.
Oh, because you nearly killed yourself.
So I pretended I was a diver. Well, yeah, I pretended I could dive, and I didn't have a first clue about it. So this time I thought, right, I'll go. And so Alice and my mum bought me and Dad bought me a thing for Christmas, which was like a diving course. So I've done all the practical, all the theory, ready to go, happy days. And I thought, I've just got to do the practical now. So I booked it with the guy here on resort, and he said, yeah, fine, no worries. Off we go, we'll go and do this dive. So I get picked up by, his name was Mohammed. He drives me to this place. I get off, and the guy says to me, have you got your diving license? I said, my driving license? No, your diving license. Well, I haven't got one. I said, look, here's my certificate. I've done this, I've done that. Oh, okay, no problem. Anyway, I get on this boat, and there was probably about 50 people on this boat. And I was like, I didn't know anybody on the boat. I didn't know what was going on the boat. I was just like, again, I'm feeling a little bit out of my depth here because I've got absolutely no idea what I've signed up for. I paid some money to a guy. I got picked up in a car, been driven half an hour down the road, I'm put on a boat, and now I'm just going out to sea. No idea what's going to happen. Anyway, I heard 3 Brits talking, so I thought, good, I'll go.
I mean, that's really ballsy. That is really ballsy.
Well, I thought, there's 3 Brits over here. I'll go and talk to them because they seem to know what's going on. And one of them was a diving instructor, and the other 2 were divers who'd come over from the UK to dive specifically with her because she was a really good diving instructor. I was like, okay, cool, got chatting to them. And when you're completely out of your depth and you've got no idea what's going on, they're going, oh, yeah, well, I'm qualified to this level and this person's qualified to this. And this guy's going, well, I've recently qualified 30 dives in my time. And I was like, okay, well, I've done 2 unofficial ones and a couple of taster things, so I don't really know what's going on. And they're like, well, so who are you here with then? I was like, I haven't told me anything. Who are you diving with? As in, which company? I was like, I've absolutely no idea. I just paid a guy. They're like, okay, well, who's organising your dive for you? No idea. Where are you diving? No idea. Where are you going down to sea? No. It's like, you seem quite calm for someone who's got absolutely no idea where you're going and what you're about to do. I was like, well, I presume at some point someone's going to come forward and say, oh, you, come here, do this. And he was like, I admire your calmness in this situation. He said, I'm a bit of a flapper, but he said, diving is quite you need to know what you're doing. I said, well, yeah, I get that. I said, but I've done all my theory stuff. He said, well, that should help, but you don't know what you're doing. I said, no, it's fine. So we get to the coral reef, and then they started chatting, and they were writing numbers on people's hands. So I was like, hello. And he was like, oh, come here. So he wrote 11 p.m. on my hand. I was like, oh, I've got 11 p.m. I don't know what that means. And then I'll just wait. And when it got to the point they shouted out my name, I was like, oh, number 11 p.m. And I was fine, okay. They just threw some kit on me and threw me in the water, and off you go. Okay, fine, here we go. We're diving again. So it was. I've now decided that when I get back to the UK, I'm going to go to a British diving centre with British people who speak English and say, look, I've done this. So I end up doing 2 dives the other day. I'm going to say, I've done this, and this. I've qualified to this. I've done this course. can you put all that together and tell me what the hell I need to do to actually get this license? Because
right.
I've got no idea what's going on.
You're sort of at the quarter halfway mark, somewhere in between there, and then just blagging the entire lot.
I've no idea, but I was like, the guy that went down with me, I said I did 2 dives, and they were both saying, "Oh, perfect, super, fantastic, wonderful." I was like, "Okay, well, I've got the hang of it. Obviously, that's right." But then interestingly, I came up from the dive, and there was a guy who, you can look at someone and go, "Well, he's British." So I hadn't seen him before on the boat. All of a sudden, he's on the boat. I thought, well, this guy is clearly British and clearly wants to chat. So I went and chat to him. "All right, pal, yeah." Thick Scouse accent. Got chatting. And he said, "Oh, I was supposed to be on a boat trip with my wife and kids for the day." He said they've ended up chartering this huge dive boat, same size as our one. And the skipper of his boat said, "Do you want to go diving?" He said, "Oh, yeah, all right." He said, "Chuck me 20 quid and I'll take you to this place and go diving." So he said, "I haven't got a clue, mate, but I'm just here." So anyway, next thing you know, he's going off diving. He comes back and he said to me, "Oh, do you want some beers?" "Yeah, all right, fine." I'll jump over onto my boat. So I did a dodgy, death-defying jump from one boat to the next. Sat down, some Egyptian guys started bringing me out beers. It was fine. "Do you want some food, pal?" "Yeah, all right, fine." Started eating all his food. I'm on his boat for about 2 hours. And he was a very interesting chap, actually. Ex-British forces and did a few tours of Afghanistan, got chatting about the state of the world and how soft it is. And he's quite a Trump supporter, as it came out.
My kind of guy.
Quite excited about Uncle Nige and reform and all the rest of it. So interesting chap.
Uncle Nige.
I got to the end. I was like, I think it is food, all the rest of it. But they started pulling the ladders up and stuff from the boat I was on. So I was like, "Oh shit, I better not go without me." So I finished my beer, said thank you very much. I went to jump back onto my boat. And as I started jumping back onto the boat I was on, you had these guys like, hey, you. And I was like, no, I'm on this boat. No, you don't come here. I was like, no, I was on the... So now they're thinking I'm some dodgy guy who's just jumped their boat. I'm like, no, I was on this boat earlier. I learnt the name of the diving instructor I was chatting to. I was like, "Emma, UK dive, yeah, get her, yeah, she, yeah." Okay, and they're like, "Oh, yeah." And then some other guy waved me on and said, "Yeah, we know him, it's okay." And he got left out at sea with the dodgy scouser.
So hopefully his PTSD doesn't start kicking in and then all of a sudden he starts hacking you to pieces.
Well, fingers crossed, yeah. He was an interesting guy to chat to. Like that. He was saying about, when I first went from my first active war zone, he was like, you think, you can't really explain it in words. He said the first time you kill somebody, he said that's like horrific. He said, and then within a few days of it, it's like you're throwing lots of cameras at each other going, "It was mine, I hit him. No, it was mine, I got him." It was like, "That was my shot." He's like, "You're arguing with your mates who have ducked behind stuff, who were shooting at random guys." He's like, "That was definitely my bullet that killed him, not yours." He's like, "Okay, fine." But we got to chat. I mentioned the podcast. I'll be on the boat today. I said to him about it, and he was like, something that you'd said about, trying to organise a bunch of squaddies by saying, "Excuse me, if I can just calm down and listen." I was saying about kitchens and stuff, and he now for a living does, he's quite high up in health and safety, and he does a lot of like security projects and stuff. He's doing a lot of work in Algeria and stuff. It's funny when you get a person who's got a very, very British accent, so he's got a thick Scouse accent, and he could speak fluent Arabic. So he's there like, "Yeah, all right, pal, yeah." And he's like, and he just starts chatting to this Egyptian guy on the boat in perfect Arabic about getting his friend a beer. And all of a sudden, this Egyptian guy turns up with a beer for me. I was like, "How are you that?" And it doesn't even sound Scouse. It's just all of a sudden, flick the switch and you're Egyptian. He said, "Well, I've done a lot of work over in this part of the world and all the rest of it." But yeah, he was saying, that talking about food safety and how that's a part of health and safety and how if you don't follow the rules, the problems it can have. But saying about how a kitchen is run as a brigade, how it's quite regimented and stuff. And it was an interesting chat, actually, to have that comparison between military versus kitchens. And then, another thing, the lady who was diving on the other boat I was chatting to, it's probably another news, but we'll go it. She was talking about food intolerances, and I told her my theory about onion and garlic, and she was like, "Oh, that's interesting," because apparently, let me just try and. So she works for the NHS. This woman, she was quite well versed. She was quite learned. She knew a lot of stuff. Works for the NHS. Works in something to do with pharmaceuticals and stuff in the NHS. Anyway, she said about since COVID that there's been, she said IBS in young people. She said IBS is like skyrocketed. Used to be a thing that was like, if you're old and infirm, you might have IBS. She said, but now it's a big thing. And she said it's because, said a lot of the bacteria stuff to do with it, or something to do with the, I'm rambling, but bear with it. A lot of the, what are they called? The vaccinations were something to do with gut-type bacteria, and the gut-type bacteria is what's caused this IBS and stuff. And they're trying to find the link between that and the COVID vaccines and the rest of it. And then I said to her, I said, well, funny enough, I do a podcast. Here I am. I'm trying to push it to everybody in Egypt, but nobody really cares. But anyway, I said about the onion and garlic thing. She said, oh, that's really weird because onion and garlic is another gut reaction one. I said, weird. And then she said, which you have to do some research on because I'm sat on a sofa in Egypt. But she said that Matt Letizia, who used to play for Southampton Football Club, who used to be a BBC pundit, since the COVID vaccine, was saying that it's basically like heart attacks. But she said that this Matt Letizia guy was a professional footballer for 25 years. And in the whole 25 years he played professional football, there was one person who had a serious heart attack or something similar on the pitch in 25 years. And it was like, oh my God, terrible. They said since, or in the season since then, or whatever, since COVID, he said there have been over 400 of these things. And that the major impact that have been had since COVID, whether it was the virus or whether it was the vaccines or whatever, but that things have changed. And apparently got sacked by the BBC for it. And she was like, well, you know, this guy was a professional footballer for many years, and he wasn't accusing anyone. He was just saying, surely we could look into this. That he said, in my whole professional career, there was
they
one.
Don't want it. They don't want it to come out. I mean,
and now it's 400.
To be fair, I hate to say it, but the conspiracy guys may be coming out with a few truths by the sounds of it. I'm going to wrap up my tinfoil hat, and then it's just going to be a case of, all right, I believe it. Fuck them.
Yeah. Well, I said about onion and garlic because she obviously knew more about the human body, anatomy, how things work, whatever. And when I said about the onion and garlic thing, she was like, that's really weird because of that. And equally, which I haven't told you because I haven't seen you since, but I did a wedding tasting the day before we came away on holiday, and the bride-to-be on this wedding tasting has got a very, very, very complicated set of allergies. Right. Horrific. I feel for it. It's a problem. Anyway, we were chatting about all things allergies and how, like, but I said to her that we were coming on holiday to Egypt. And she said genuinely she would never be able to come to somewhere like this on holiday because her allergies are so severe that she would not be able to eat. Like, and, you know, the cross-contamination, whatever, she's like, I just wouldn't be able to go somewhere like that on holiday because of my allergies and stuff.
You're going to have to start asking these people if they have vaccines.
Well, I didn't want to tell her about the podcast because under Alice's recommendation, a bride-to-be might not want to hear me and you ramble shit on the podcast. No. But I said to her that I was recently discussing with a friend about onion and garlic allergies. I said, strange. I said, that onion and garlic are now really prevalent allergies. I said, and ever since COVID, I said, might be entirely coincidental. I said, but ever since COVID, I said, there's huge rise in onion and garlic allergies. And she looked like I just punched her in the face. She went, my onion and garlic allergy literally started after I'd had my vaccine. I was like, what? She goes, yeah. So I hadn't thought about it until you've just said that. She said, but hey, before I had my COVID vaccine, onion and garlic was never an issue in my life. She said, ever since then, she has a lot of allergies, like to a lot of different things. But she said, that only started since my COVID vaccine.
Oh, I was like, so there is some truth. Did you ask her which one she had?
No, I thought, but I mean, the wedding's not till summertime, so I've got time to, but, you know, I think her saying that, NHS lady on the dive boat in Egypt saying there's definitely something because of, apparently it was something to do with, I don't know, stomach bacteria or something. One of the live things was in the vaccine was a stomach bacteria or some such thing, which was what she was saying that onion and garlic attacks stomach things, which is where the problem is. But yeah, this woman was like, she looks dumbfounded and just like, so that's really weird because mine literally started since COVID. I never had a problem with onion and garlic before COVID, and now I have. I said, oh.
Yeah,
we may have uncovered something exciting. So we need to actually do some more research on that.
Fair enough.
What about emails? Have you had anything?
Just Scarlett agreeing with me, and that was it.
Agreeing with you on what?
I agree with Scott. Italian overreacted. Keep the money. Snooze, you lose. Never thought I'd agree with Scott on multiple topics, but during this episode I did. Keeping it real. That was it. I thought I was out of line.
What was Keep the Money about?
I can't remember the podcast now. I'd have to listen to it back. I can't remember the last fucking episode, and it was only 5 days ago.
I did get some messages the other day off of it. Hold on, let me find it. Got a message off Adam Streeter, which said, I think Scott needs to start a spin-off podcast of One Man versus the World. Also, at Darren, just an FYI, in case you do encounter Beethoven anywhere, he is deaf as well as dead, so may not respond to a chat. And then Rudy said, I won't be going to Scott for support of my mental health.
One Man versus the World. That's not bad, actually.
What were we talking about? You said about people with anxiety.
Oh, yeah, that was it. I went on the mental health thing, and half of it is bollocks.
Bad. Oh, in other news. There's no letters, but we'll deal with letters when I get back. But I did have an interesting request, a conversation from my daughter, who she's asked the chef, and he can't explain to her. She said she wants sausages. He said, yeah, we have sausages. We've got beef ones and chicken ones, which are both not very nice. So I just want a ham sandwich. No ham. Okay, Daddy, I just want ham or bacon. I said, they don't have ham or bacon. Daddy, can you get me some ham? She's a bit like the spoiled kid out of Willy Wonka's thing.
Oh, right.
Daddy, I want ham. I was like, you can't have a ham sandwich. Okay, I'll have a bacon sandwich. You can't have bacon sandwich. I want sausages, normal sausages. Yeah, they don't do that. I'm trying to explain to a 4-year-old and 3-year-old why in different parts of the don't believe that eating a pig is a good idea.
They're not going to get it, are they?
Okay, can we get some bacon? Yeah, can we get some sausage? And the poor chef, he's like, well, here's some ham. It's like, that's beef, mate. It's a pastrami kind of beef vibe, but yeah.
It's the best we can do.
Didn't go down overly well, so yeah, so I need to do some sort of cultural improvement for the children because they really haven't got a clue. They're like, I just want a ham sandwich. They don't have in this country. But there we are. Anyway, that's just like this. The last thing I want to say to you is that because we were going to do the musical shit and we've never got around to it, but this is, so you need to find this. I'll spell it out and then you can find a link and you can put it on the video. And then it's a fun challenge to try and do. It's only 1.5 minutes long, but if you look for, it's called CheckON Podcast.
Oh,
so
how do you even spell that?
S-O-C-O.
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 Yeah.
CheckON. And then Batty, B-A-T-E.
Yeah.
And then Vera, V-I-R-A. So S-O-C-O, B-A-T-E, V-I-R-A.
And this is a special song that's going on there?
Apparently, it's some sort of holiday club song thing. I don't know. If the one I've just looked up on YouTube is by Mini Disco Kids Songs, and it's got 12 million views. But it shows you the hand movements quite slowly. And then in the song explains the hand movements. And like the middle part, you ignore because the middle part's just whatever. But it's got this, you basically put your fists together, clap your hands, and then pat your shoulders. But it's quite a fun challenge. So anyone who listens to this who's entirely bored should try and do the CheckON Podcast video because I've been trying to do it every night in this disco here. And I've pretty much mastered it. But I don't think we're going to the disco tonight because...
No disco?
We've got an early start tomorrow. Well, it's an early start tomorrow because we've got to go to Paradise Island and then go on the submarine. So we probably won't do it tonight. And then tomorrow's our last night. We're flying in there after.
Are you ahead of me or behind?
I'm ahead at 6 o'clock here now. Talking of which, I've got to be in a restaurant in half an hour, so I better cut it sweet, otherwise I'll be in trouble with the wife. All
right, well, in that case, lead us out.
Lovely. Well, thanks for joining us across the continent. It's been emotional, and I hope you've heard most of it. And I'll see you when we get back home.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
Cool. Cheerio. All the best.